Okay, so this is the review sheet for the circulatory system and circulation. So let's have a look at the answers. We can go through them. So the first thing it asks us to do is actually draw and label a red blood cell. So the red blood cell then has got a membrane that surrounds it. One thing we need to make note about the red blood cell is that it has no nucleus. We can't label a nucleus. And if we looked at it from the side, it would look like this. You'd have a dip in it, and it's a biconcave shape. The biconcave shape then because it has no nucleus. If you draw and label a phagocyte is a type of white blood cell. And if you're looking at the labels then, surrounding it we have our membrane, and then we have our cytoplasm in the middle. If you then go up, like, what is the heart made of? The heart is made of chambers. There are 4 of them. There are valves, arteries and veins connected to the heart. And then what does the pulmonary vessel do? Well, no, not pulmonary, coronary vessels do. They pump blood to the heart. Coronary, okay, we're looking at blood vessels to the heart. Then we need to be able to label our heart, okay? And one thing to make note and to remember is that the right side's on the left and the left is on the right. When we look then, we have, if we start from here, this is the vena cava, as we can see labelled our vena cava. From the vena cava then the blood enters the right atrium. Then we go then, here are the valves separating the 2 chambers. We have the right ventricle, then we have blood then that leaves through our pulmonary artery, which we can see, the pulmonary artery. Then it goes to the lungs. As it comes back then, it comes back through the pulmonary veins. As it comes back from the pulmonary veins, it enters then our left atrium. Then it goes down into our left ventricle and it goes out of our aorta, as we can see here. You will need to remember the 4 chambers and the name of the 4 coronary vessels. What do they do then? So arteries, need to remember, carry blood away from the heart. I need you to remember because artery begins with A and they carry blood away. Veins then carry blood into the heart. And then what is the function of the valves? They prevent the backflow of blood. They stop the blood. So when they enter our ventricles, when the heart contracts to force out of the heart, it stops the blood going backwards and flowing backwards. Then let's look then at describe the passage of blood, okay? So essentially looking at that. So blood is pumped from the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery, okay? From there then, blood travels through the artery to the lungs to get oxygenated, then travels back to the heart through the pulmonary vein to the left atrium. Blood is then pumped into the left ventricle. From there, the heart will contract and blood is forced out of the aorta and travels on the body. Blood re-enters the heart through the vena cava into the right atrium and then the right ventricle. Okay, so that's literally just going through how the blood travels through the heart. Okay, then we've got the function of the 4 types of blood. So we've got the red blood cell, which we know carries oxygen around our body. We have platelets then, so they form clots. When you cut yourself, they clot your blood. We have white blood cells. There are 2 types. We have phagocytes and lymphocytes. And essentially what they do, they defend your body from infection. And then we have the plasma, and that's our liquid part of our blood. Okay, so they carry all of the 3 cells in. And then what are the capillaries and how do they work? Our capillaries, they are our smallest blood vessel, okay? They are 1 cell thick, okay? And they are 1 cell thick, so we have a short diffusion pathway, okay? Between cells, blood vessels, etc. Okay, they also have a large surface area. Okay, and then oxygen diffuses out of the capillary into respiring cells, okay, because oxygen is needed for respiration. And then carbon dioxide diffuses out of the cells into the capillary to go back on the body to be breathed out. then we're going to look at each side. So which side of the heart carries oxygenated blood? Oxygenated blood just means blood with oxygen, okay, if we're not sure. And it is the left side of our heart, okay, because it goes to the lungs first and it comes back to the left side where it's picked up oxygen. Then we've got which side of the heart carries deoxygenated, so obviously then that's blood without oxygen, and that's from the right side of the heart. Explain the advantages of a double circulatory system. So the advantages then is that the blood goes through the heart twice to go around the body once. Okay, because it's got to enter the right side, it leaves to go to the lungs, and it comes back on the left side, so in twice to get pumped to go around the body once, where it enters the right side of the heart again. And we've got what is cardiovascular disease, okay? So disease that affects our heart and the vessels surrounding the heart, okay? And essentially it's narrowing of the coronary vessels by fat droplets, the buildup of fat in those coronary vessels that are connected and carry blood to or from the heart. What are the risk factors for cardiovascular disease? Well, smoking, obesity and high blood pressure are risk factors for cardiovascular disease. And then what are the effects of cardiovascular disease? There's restricted blood flow to the heart, obviously, because if there's fat droplets in the vessels, it's going to make it narrower, so less blood is going to flow through, and obviously then the blood pressure will increase because it's going to be more strain on the heart to get the blood through those vessels. Fatigue, you're going to get fatigue because if there's less blood flow, you're going to get less oxygen carried around your body, and then worst case you will get chest pain and then potential heart attack. And I think then that is our review sheet for circulatory system.